Hello, and thanks for joining us. This is the Mormon to Medium podcast. I'm Brad, and I'm here with Nanette.
Yo.
And do you guys ever get tired of hearing that? Because we introduce ourselves each day. Maybe we don't need to do that every week.
I think there are new people that don't know who the hell we are. So
okay.
That are joining us, midstream.
That's valid.
And if you are joining us midstream, you should go back and listen to the very first ones, so you know who we are.
Yeah, welcome. We appreciate your jumping on to listen. So this week we are going to talk about our trip to New Orleans.
We are returning and reporting.
Yes, we are returning and reporting. So we're going to talk about that trip and some of the crazy things that happened to us while we were there.
Yeah, hold on to your pantyhose, guys. The ride is wild. Welcome to the Mormon to Medium podcast, where we'll talk about spirituality, the paranormal, religion, and my journey going from Mormon to medium. I'm Nanette Ride. Thanks for listening. Now let's go have some fun.
Don't be afraid. Close your eyes. There's a moon overhead.
Okay, we have a show for you today. It's kind of wild. We were there and it was kind of wild, but just telling the stories back to each other were kind of...
Well, there was a lot, right?
There's a lot.
So New Orleans, wow, what an amazing city. The architecture is absolutely beautiful. The historic buildings, even the new buildings, in the downtown area and the industrial areas, it's all just such an eyeful to see all of the different architecture and textures and shapes and colors.
I really think that you were an architect in a previous life or something, because all of the pictures that you took were of different skylines and different gargoyles and different shapes and lines and buildings. And he didn't take pictures of just normal shit. It was like...
that's normal shit.
No. This is like artsy fartsy gay stuff.
Fartsy gay stuff, really.
Okay,
we're
salad.
going to go like that. It's salad. So I don't have a problem with that. It's okay.
No, I just think that you had a different life where you have an eye for that kind of stuff. It's really interesting because he really does like the buildings and stuff.
I do.
They're interesting there.
No, they are. And, here in the West, we don't tend to keep buildings like that around. We just tear them down and build something new rather than going, oh, wow, this is a really bitchin' building. We're going to repurpose it to be something else. Like the Airbnb we stayed in had been an ironworks building and they made iron there.
And interestingly, one of our friends that came with us, so our friends, Kristen and Weiling, came with us to New Orleans, or we came with them, whatever. They're our besties. And interestingly, he's a history buff, and he was telling us how the ports there were being used during the war. And because there's a World War museum there. And I wasn't aware, but they made the ships there in New Orleans. So chances are the place that our Airbnb was is one of the places that they built some of the metal for the parts for the ships.
Yeah, they built a lot of different ships there. So very interesting history to New Orleans beyond just what a lot of people think. And Weiland, actually, if you don't know him, he was on episode 66 and episode 67 of the show. So go back and listen to that and you can know who we're talking about when we reference him. But we had a fantastic time. It was Kristen's birthday.
Yeah, she did not let us know it was her birthday, though.
Yeah, happy birthday, Kristen.
Happy birthday, bitch.
Happy birthday
to you.
we made sure to let people know all day she hated it.
She totally hated it.
But we loved it, and that's what really matters.
Making her red became our mission. Turning her face cherry red was hilarious.
Yes, it was. Anyway, we went there, and we really wanted to look into some of these haunted locations, right? We talked about Muriel's, and we went to Muriel's. We talked about the Lalaurie Mansion, and we went to the Lalaurie Mansion. We talked about the St. Louis Cathedral, and we went to the St. Louis Cathedral. And we are going to share our stories with you guys to let you know what we felt and what we thought while we were there.
Are you guys ready?
So which one you want to start with, Miss Nan?
Ready, set, go. Muriel's? Okay, let's talk about Muriel's.
All right, we're going to talk about Muriel's first.
Pro tip, by the way, if you want to have some of the very best food in New Orleans and some really great drinks and some atmosphere that you're probably going to see a ghost or two, go to Muriel's and bypass the dining area because there'll be a waiting time. Go straight to the bar, and they serve food there.
You can get the full dining room menu at the bar, which is what we did, and it worked out perfect. So when we got to Muriel's, and let's set the stage here a little bit. So as you align yourself with the French Quarter, the main thing that everyone recognizes is Jackson Square, right? Big park area with a giant statue of Andrew Jackson in the middle on a horse. Behind that, directly to the west, is the St. Louis Cathedral. And if you go to the right of St. Louis Cathedral, the next street over is where Muriel's sits, right on the corner.
Well, on each side of the St. Louis Cathedral, though, is the presbytery, and I forget the name of the other building, but they're identical buildings. So literally on the other side of the presbytery is on the corner there is Muriel's. So you kind of got to hop over a building.
It's on the next street.
The next street on the corner. Yeah. It's a really quiet corner too. Shockingly, we got lots of pictures where there's hardly anybody.
But we did get a lot of good pictures that way. But it depends on when you go there, because a lot of times that's where the street performers are. There's a lot of music. There's a lot of people with their little tables set up to read tarot cards or palm reading or fortunes. So it just depends on the time of day and the day of the week, right? Which
is so interesting. Right there in front of a church, you've got people doing stuff like this, and then you've got artists with all their works. And it's just such a busy, bustling mixture that's going on all the time. It's so interesting.
Well, it's kind of like that video I made, on Royal Street. Where else but New Orleans do you have, a painting of an angel next to a boudoir painting, and then you turn around and there's the cathedral with Touchdown Jesus shadowed up against the side of the cathedral, and then you turn and look at somewhere else, and there's a lingerie store, and then across the street there's a voodoo shop. Like, you get it all in New Orleans.
In less than half a block.
Yes.
It's a mixture, right? It's a mixture of peoples, a mixture of cultures. Really super interesting place. But Muriel's.
Yeah, so we go back to Muriel's. It's right on the corner, and as you walk in, it is just a beautiful timepiece period building, right? Absolutely gorgeous. We walked in, and we were going to just go in, get a drink, go to the seance room, hang out for a little while, and leave. What ended up happening is we stayed for quite a while. But as you walk in and you go to where the seance room is, they have a table set there to pay homage to their building ghosts.
Right. It's at the bottom of the stairs. So the seance room's at the top of the stairs. The stairs go up and then they turn again. Then you walk down a little gangplank like area and go into the seance room. There's like a sitting room, and then you walk in some doors and it's the actual seance room. But they have this full set table with all the fancy glassware and napkins and all the things. And it has a little sign that says that it's a place setting for the ghosts.
So let me just back up and cover the story about Muriel's. So the concept of the seance room comes like this. Pierre-Antoine Leparty Jordan, he was a gambler. And when I say he was a gambler, he was the type of gambler who actually needed some help. Like, it was always about, the next bigger bet. He could always win. He knew that win was coming, and it ended up getting him in the end. So there's a story that goes around, and either poker or craps, depending on who you hear the story from, but he was playing and did pretty well. But at the end of the night, he wanted one final bet because he needed to get his win, right? So he bet the house, literally the deed to his home, which was a family home. His mother was away in France, and he was there partying it up. So he makes the bet and he loses. Now, he was so distraught about losing the family home that he ended up hanging himself in an upstairs room. Now, Pierre is said to still haunt the building, and he has for years and years. The building became a couple of different things. After he lost it, it was taken over by the organized crime area, and they started essentially a brothel within the building. That didn't last too long. It was also a girls' school. So it was a few different things. It's a restaurant, and the restaurant actually really embraced it. They leaned into the ghost story and said, this is great marketing. Let's bring in all the ghosty tourists, because you get that in New Orleans, right? I mean, that's why we went.
Part of the reason why we went.
So they set this table down there because they had several different seances throughout the years to try and get rid of all of the ghosts in the building. And during one of the seances that they had in the seance rooms upstairs, they were told that they should set a table for the ghosts, for specifically Pierre Anton Lepardi Jordan, and tell him that he could invite any of his ghost friends to come and enjoy the building and coexist with the living.
Right. The interesting thing is the kind of agreement or understanding was if the table was set, then they would be peaceful and things would work out good. So now Muriel's is known to have good ghosts.
Yeah. In the past, they have had, those occurrences where glasses fly off the bar and break and, other types of poltergeist type activity.
Right. So now they have more pleasant things happen, I think.
I think so. And you definitely think so because you experienced that. Let's talk about what you experienced.
Oh, gosh.
So we go in, we grabbed a couple of drinks, and we went upstairs to the seance room.
Right. So if you know me, you know that I'm not a big drinker. So if you look on our social media, you'll see some of the seance room. We've got videos and stuff, but everything's pretty much done in like a lavish red, rich purples, a lot of velvet. There's a sarcophagus that doesn't belong in there, I think.
Yeah, they've got a couple of Egyptian sarcophagi, and it's like that doesn't
kind of
really,
doesn't go.
Yeah,
but the other stuff, there's some pictures, paintings, things like that. There's a really cool lamp that I thought was a lamp, but it actually was a statue of a girl reaching up, and we've got pictures of this too. And then the lamp is above it, and you kind of think they go together. But it's kind of the old Victorian type furniture, and it's just a really kind of cush place to kind of crash and enjoy some music and drink your drinks and kind of feel what you feel.
Yeah. And it was awesome because we were in there and it was just our little group. We got to sit in there for quite a while and just feel the room.
Yeah.
So let's talk about feeling the room now.
Okay. As I was saying, if you know me, you know that I'm not a big drinker. I rarely drink alcohol. So usually it doesn't take very much to get me. Like maybe
She's
half
a cheap
glass.
drunk.
Yeah, I'm a cheap drunk. And it's by design. Like I just don't enjoy the disassociated feeling. But there are times like in my swimming pool where I'll let my hair down a little bit and let that happen. Sometimes it's by mistake because I don't know there's so much alcohol in something. But other than that, I pretty much, just get a teeny tiny bit of a buzz and then I'm good. I'm good. I'm not I get drunk kind of person at all. But there I had a mojito, and it's one of my favorite drinks. And I had taken maybe 4 sips of it. It wasn't very much at all. And we have a video too, which I'm just mortified about. By the way, thanks, Kristen. But you can see that my drink, it's not very empty at all. It's pretty much full still. But when I went to go into that room, this wave of, I can't explain it, almost drunken ecstasy hit me.
Euphoria.
Yeah, euphoria.
Maybe
Is
euphoria.
a good, like my feet started to tingle and my lips started to tingle and my fingers were tingling, and I felt like my spirit was floating out of my body. And that's the best way I can explain it. And I kept trying to feel into the room, like what the crap is going on. Cause I felt extremely drunk, but not sick drunk. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, cause I get sick drunk.
But
like,
you hadn't had any alcohol. I mean,
No.
literally in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't even a quarter of your glass.
No. Anyways, I sat there and all of a sudden I could see them. I saw 2 men and a woman, and I could hear kids in the other room. And they were the woman was standing off a little bit from us. But one of the guys was sitting next to a chair that I was sitting next to. So there was a couch that was next to me. He was on the corner of that. And then back behind Kristen to my left was another guy sitting down. And they were just chilling with us. And I just felt like we were amongst friends. It didn't even occur to me to be like, hey, so do you guys want to go to the light? Like, you know what I mean? It's like they were super happy to be where they were, but I was getting messed with.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that they were happy where they were, with the other seances saying, hey, do this and live in conjunction. It seems like that's what they wanted. But it seems like maybe they're experiencing life through the people who are going in and out of there every day.
Maybe so. And yeah, there's only certain times in my life when I get busy that I feel that kind of bliss, if you follow. Like that, it was incredible. And I have never felt like that before.
Okay, so let me
with
ask
a ghost. You. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. So do you think that is a form of possession?
No, I didn't feel possessed at all.
So maybe just shared emotions or feelings, or what is that? How does that work? What do you think that was?
I don't know. Can I return and report? Because I don't know. I have never had a spirit. Like, I feel the spirits that I talk to, and I can feel like their personalities, and I can feel like how they died and all that kind of stuff. But I've never had my whole entire body be subject to something like that.
Right.
And I wasn't, it was all three of them that were making it happen. So I'm not really sure how and why, because I mean, I put my protections up, I do that every single day. So I'm not really positive. I'm a little bit puzzled, and I know that it's something I have to learn, but very weird, because usually they can't get through to me. Spirits don't bother me. Usually if I'm not doing office hours, they don't bother me. And I wasn't impaired enough to have, give permission or have my shields come down. Do you know?
Right.
So I don't know, but I just felt so light and happy, and I don't know, which is so foreign for places. I mean, this is a room where somebody committed suicide.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure many others have died in there as well.
Well, obviously 2 more, I'm kind of a little bit speechless, but that city, that's the thing. That city, there's so many spirits. There's so much going on. Like, you can just be walking along and then all of a sudden have this wave hit you. And if you're not paying attention, you probably wouldn't get it. But I only drank twice on this whole trip, and it wasn't very much alcohol. Like maybe a couple of sips at the top, and that was it. So only because I was feeling and experiencing so much, I didn't feel safe enough, I guess, to drink and let all my shields down, because I have no idea what would really truly have happened. I think I was experiencing enough, but I wasn't the only one experiencing stuff.
Well,
so.
I wonder if when we went in there initially, we sat down and I told the story about what happened and gave a little background of the room to Wyland and Kristen.
And everybody got cold chills.
Every single one of us got that full body philo-erection and went, holy shit, did you feel that? Like,
yep.
And it lasted for quite a while. It wasn't just like there's an emotional part, because it wasn't an emotional story, but you definitely felt that presence around you. But it wasn't the dark, depressed, suicidal spirit that you would expect.
Not at all. And I think that when you were starting to tell the story, it was almost like opening the door to invite them in.
Right. Like, we know about you. Come on down.
Exactly.
Come on down.
So it's like, oh, they're talking about us. Come sit,
Right.
Well, let's have some fun type of thing. But I didn't feel like they were malicious or anything like that. But I literally have never felt like that before.
Yeah, Nan was super silly, and she's like, "Oh, I need some more to drink." I'm like, "No, I'm going to take that from you, and let's see what."
He was treating me like I was drinking too much.
Yeah, I said, "Let's take that away from you, and let's see what happens when we leave this room." And we left the room and went downstairs, and it was like we just had to get out of that.
No, it followed me. The feeling followed me out into the street. And when I was standing out there with Kristen is when it started to lift and it started to go away. And then when we went back in later to eat the food,
Okay,
it came back
right.
again. And that's why I didn't touch the mojito, because I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this way again, just sitting here at the bar, and the seance room's above the bar. So we were just sitting at the bar eating dinner, and I'd gone to the restroom, and Brad had ordered me another mojito to go with my dinner, but I didn't touch it because I was like, I'm already feeling this. So I probably shouldn't drink anything. So I just drank water. But there's something in there. Any other psychic mediums that go there?
Well, there was a whole table of witches there.
Everybody was dressed up. It was awesome.
Okay, so we went there, and it ended up being Halloween parties, basically. So they had a big Halloween parade, and people were dressed up all over the place because they had different parties happening. But there was a whole bunch of women dressed in witch costumes eating dinner at Muriel's while we were there.
Right, right.
But hey, we had a remarkable bartender. John at Muriel's was fantastic.
Definitely the best. He gave us a lot of history lesson about New Orleans.
Yep.
He didn't know a whole bunch about Muriel's, though. I think he would have quit his job and run the other way. But he gave us a little bit of background about New Orleans, and he recommended some amazing food. Like, untouchable, amazing food.
Yeah, Muriel's had some great food. Highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah. Definitely great.
But that was our night at Muriel's. And the crazy thing is, 2 nights before that,
yeah,
we had gone out, and Nan got similarly affected, but she got sick.
Right.
And the same idea. So a couple of swallows, we walked out into the street and went to another bar to listen to music, and she got just super, super sick.
Oh, like... Yeah, I had to leave the place where we were. So I think the hypothesis that we've come up with is Brad is a big protector, and we've known this all through dating and stuff in places that we've gone, that he protects my energy, and he is a huge, huge protector. And when he leaves me is when I get fucked with. And I'm just going to say it that way because this time I got fucked with, and it was not okay. It wasn't even a nice person at all. But we were at one bar, and we found this really good band. And I mean, they were singing some songs that were shockingly right on the money, like just like the real band. We were shocked. They were so good. And this was the other time I drank. And this was before Wyland and Kristen got there. So it was just me and Brad, and we're just kind of kicking back. And he gets me my favorite. I usually love Malibu rum. I'm a rum drinker, right? Thus mojitos, right? But he gets me that. I drink some. But while I'm there listening to the music, Brad goes to the restroom because he has a tiny bladder.
Hey now. My body processes in a healthy way.
In a healthy way. But while he's gone to the restroom, I get this really, really sharp pain in my forehead that travels through my head on the right side, all the way through my brain, all the way through the back of my head. And I mean, it is painful. Like I'm squinting my eyes and I'm looking at my body parts thinking am I having like a stroke or something? Like this is super painful. But when it passed, I was like, what the crap? And I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, I feel fine. My body is working fine. And then Brad comes back from the bathroom and is sitting there and the music's going, and I just kind of brush it off a little bit. And then the band takes a break, and we decide, well, the band just never comes back is what happens. They were out getting high.
They were supposed to come back soon, but they didn't. In fact, the funny thing about that was we saw the bass player. No, he wasn't the bass player. He was the guitar player. At the Mississippi River the next day in the exact same clothes. We're like, he's had one hell of a night.
Yeah. So they didn't come back, but we decided to go out on Bourbon Street, and we walked down the street to a place called the Bandstand. And Brad, with his tiny bladder, again, he's like, I gotta go pee. Let's go in this place. And so we go in and the music is so loud. And so I'm like plugging my ears and we go past the band and then we go up the stairs where the restroom is.
Well, because we wanted to go out to the balcony.
Yeah, we were looking for a second balcony so you can overlook Bourbon Street because it's kind of great people watching, by the way.
It's not kind of great. It's like incredible people watching.
Yeah, all walks of life, I tell you. It's crazy. But
do you know what we didn't see on Bourbon Street?
titties.
Yeah, we saw no
didn't
boobies.
See any titties.
Which
Nope.
was surprising because I thought you were supposed to see those there.
Yeah, to get beats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No boobies.
No.
So if you're looking for boobies on Bourbon Street, you might be disappointed.
Maybe you do during Mardi Gras.
Probably on Mardi
I don't
Gras.
know.
Well,
Not during the Halloween one, though.
you know what was weird is people had their kids down there.
Yeah, and their dogs without booties
Oh,
because,
gross.
like, literally, if you don't know, you don't know. But the police even told us the first time that we went to New Orleans, that we were in flip flops, and I literally got bawled out by an officer for not having closed-toed shoes.
He's like, you want to get hepatitis? Because that's how you get hepatitis.
And I laughed, and he's like, "It is not funny. I am serious. Get some effing shoes on." So this time we wore shoes, but we were walking around other people that had the flippies on, and it's crazy because there's this gravy in the puddles. Like they wash the streets, but it's just everybody's vomit and piss, and New Orleans does smell like pee.
No, New Orleans smells like a mixture. Well, at least the French Quarter. A lot of the French Quarter.
Bourbon Street in particular.
Yeah, smells like a mix between vomit, urine, and a crawdad boil.
Yeah, it's
That's
really not
it's
good.
yeah, it's a horrible smell.
Yeah, it's a terrible smell. But that's what's in the puddles. So that's why you need shoes. If you ever go to experience this amazing city, at least wear shoes.
Yeah, we've really sold it on that point. We should be on their tourism board.
It's just Bourbon Street that has that, just FYI. The rest of the city is fine. It's actually quite clean city, actually. But Bourbon Street, yeah.
Yeah, not so much. So yeah, we go to this other place to find the balcony. We go upstairs. I go to the bathroom.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it felt like a wave. A big wave of energy hit me, and I started to get the spins, and I felt like I was going to pass out, like I couldn't catch my breath. And I felt like I was going to pass out, and I broke out in like this cold sweat. And I stood there with my back against the wall, and I'm just like, I feel like I am going to lose it. And Brad comes out, and I'm like, I'm not feeling good. And he's like, well, let's go out on the balcony and see if that helps. And there was a light breeze. And so that was super helpful because I could catch my breath and things started to calm down. And then the wave hit me again out on the balcony. And I'm just like, no, not feeling good. We need to leave this place. I'm like, this is not good. And so he's like, all right, let's get out of here. And so we headed for our hotel.
Yeah, and I was watching her be sick, and I'm like, wow, did you get some bad oysters? Because we had charbroiled oysters earlier, but I ate the same plate of oysters, and I wasn't sick.
We shared everything, and he wasn't sick. So we get back to the hotel, though, and I run to the bathroom, and I lose it. Like, I am projectile vomiting all over the place. And I'm just crying because I am not a puker. Like, if anybody knows me here too, I am not a puker. I would rather lick a toilet seat than puke. Like,
and
literally.
she did both while she was puking.
God, it was bad. It was bad. And I probably will never eat an oyster again. But it wasn't the oysters at all. They weren't even the things that came up. But I know, TMI. But anyway, I get cleaned up.
What did come up, Miss Nan?
It was vegetables.
See, that's a clear argument for avoid eating nasty vegetables.
Whatever.
You ate a lot of salad, apparently.
All of my food was so good. After that, I got all cleaned up. I took a shower, got all cleaned up, came out, laid on the bed, and Brad went in and had his turn in the bathroom. And I'm laying there, and all of a sudden, I get this tap on the top of my head 4 times. Tap, 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 tap. I'm like, oh my hell. I open my eyes and I get full body chills 3 times in a row. Chills from head to toe. Chills, chills, chills. And I'm like, I yelled at Brad, something followed me home. Come and sage this shit. Like, cause I'm still not feeling good. And, now I for sure know why, because it freaking tapped me on the head.
Yeah.
So Brad comes out and he's a little tipsy and he's like, well, I guess I'm going to drunk sage.
And that's what I did.
And he did. And
By God, I drunk saged the shit out of that room. So I
And
always,
me.
and her, I always travel with Palo Santo matches. So when I travel and I go to a hotel room, I'll strike up the match. And yes, I know you're not supposed to burn anything in a hotel, but I burn this every time and invite any negative energies, ghosts, vibrations, whatever, to exit and know that I'm only staying temporarily, and then they can come back and do whatever they're going to do. So I did that and invited everything to leave us alone.
And it left.
And it stopped.
Yeah, it stopped. And I stopped being sick, which I was so grateful for, because that one was not a good one. But I was too sick to even address what the hell. Do you know what I mean? It was bad. It was really, really, really bad. But I was completely fine after I left the room.
Yeah.
So there's that one.
And that's our first couple of tales regarding New Orleans. And,
And
we're
we
going to
have many more.
We've got many more on the next episode. Make sure you listen so that you can hear all about our experience at the Lalari Mansion.
And at the cathedral down Pirates Alley.
Yep. You don't want to miss those ones. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening.
You guys, thanks for your support. Please like and share and let your friends know about our podcast and our social media accounts. And if you'd like to schedule a balance or a reading with me, remember, I do remote ones too. Find us on social media or at zenergysage.com. And we will see you
on the other side of the veil.
Roasted